There are niches within niches in sim racing. Today we dive into what looks like the ultimate niche, a D-shaped sim racing steering wheel with a screen in it, known as the GSI GT MAX32. Who would want one of those? Well, you're watching this video and checking your bank balance as we speak. I'm Lawrence, welcome to the channel. Introduction. On the left you'll see all the sections in this video. I've put timestamped links to each section in the description below. GSI or Gomez Sim Industries need little introduction. They're one of the few brands who have cemented themselves in the high-end category of sim racing steering wheels. Only Asher and Cube Controls can claim large hardcore steering wheel communities like GSI's. But from my experience, GSI owners are the most fanatic. I say this because when Asher or Cube Controls announce wheels, people get excited. When GSI announces wheels, people take out their credit card. All of the products in this review were sent to me free of charge for the purposes of this review, and nobody other than me has had a say in the content of this video. The links to this product and its competitors in the description are affiliate links, and if used, will earn this channel some money at no extra cost to you. First impressions. I never did a first impressions video on this wheel. This one was a little bit different and a bit more special. I met up with Jose Gomez, the CEO and owner of GSI, at the Sim Formula Expo in January of this year. Since then, this steering wheel has been a regular feature on my live streams, during which I get asked several times what it is and how much it costs. Today, I get to reveal it all. I didn't get to unbox this device, as I had to take this in my hand luggage on an airplane. I got to stare at it a bit while waiting for my flight. I was lucky that GSI brought a few of these to the expo, and I even got to choose the colour that I wanted. This light green highlight is subtle and just screams GSI for me. I remember the colours from the first time I ever laid eyes on a Pro Elite steering wheel. However, I never reviewed the Pro Elite, but I did get to use it and didn't find it very comfortable to use. It was very heavy and the screen was a bit small. The rotaries just didn't do it for me. There was also no backlighting on the buttons, and to be honest, I didn't understand the GSI hype at the time. So it came as a bit of a surprise when I saw GSI release the GT MAX32, which was right up my street, being a rally, rallycross and road car racing enthusiast. It's 320mm, it's got 3 7-way hats, 5 backlit rotary encoders and 8 RGB buttons. They've thrown the kitchen sink at this thing. The USB cable is probably the least attractive thing about this steering wheel. You can make it a more seamless experience with Asetek wheelbases. I always limit any plugged-in steering wheels to 540 degrees of rotation. Any more than that, I'm afraid of cables getting tangled. I found that out the hard way with a steering wheel a few years ago. It also goes without saying that this probably isn't the product for VR users. I wonder if they'll ever release a screenless version. Price. Let's get this out of the way as soon as possible. Rip the band-aid off, as it were. This thing costs around $1,500 in its basic form once you add in taxes. That's around €1,600. So that's a big price tag. I don't think anybody clicked this video expecting this to be cheap. But by the time you spec this out as you see it in the video, you end up closer to the $2,000 mark. If you want a custom color scheme, it's an extra $150 excluding tax. Carbon fiber paddles are an extra $20, clutch paddles are an extra $180, this exquisite AH50 hub add-on is an extra $75, so costs definitely add up, especially after you add on sales tax or VAT. But price isn't the deciding factor for those of you who will buy this wheel. It's unlikely that you will buy this unless the rest of your setup is already extremely high-end. That's just the nature of these products. They are expensive, and they make no apologies. That's not to say they aren't good value though. I'll cover that in more detail later. Installation, hardware. Installation was simple. In fact, Jose himself installed the AH50 hub for me. When I said that it looked like a lightweight wheel or the inner workings of a watch, he told me that it was in fact inspired by the strong yet delicate inner workings for a high-end timepiece. The passion just flowed out of him. I had spoken with Jose several times before, but seeing him speak while he's holding his products is infectious. And he didn't just make this time for me because I have a YouTube channel, he was like this with absolutely everyone. I installed the 74mm NRG carbon fibre quick release onto the hub. I love this quick release. I have some for my real life cars. They're compatible with Moza, Simagic, Camus and even AccuForce. It just looks at home on this beast of a steering wheel. Installation, software. SimHub is a must for any wheel manufacturers with screens these days. Big companies I've spoken to in the past were reluctant to be dependent on third-party software. We've seen that happen with Cube Controls, who relied on Ultimate Game Tech screen software. That company was acquired by Asetek and Cube Controls immediately ceased to use it. I think that SimHub is bigger than that now, and it's a solid choice for any screen integration into a wheel. GSI have been using SimHub for years, so I knew what to expect from this steering wheel. While I've been using Lovely Dashboard a lot, I found myself doing a lot of rally with this wheel, and I recommend this Dirt Dash by Full Pace Sim Racing. It works quite well. When you install SimHub, simply add the GT MAX32 device and you're ready to go. There's a great guide on the GSI website which guides you through the process with ease. There you'll find some additional LED profiles, including the Sable Gradient profile which matches my sticker colours beautifully. This process could definitely be simpler, but it's worth the effort. Screen and LEDs. This 5-inch Vocore screen is beautiful. 5-inch is the perfect size for a Sim Dash in my opinion. It pops out at you a little and doesn't look like retrofitted afterthought. The colours are rich and the brightness is amazing. They justify the big ugly cable that comes out of this wheel, because it's very power hungry. The screen is touchscreen, which is really nice and handy with some dashes like Lovely Dashboard. It's big enough to be able to display even smaller details, and the refresh rates are nice and high. So things like rev counters or lap timers look excellent. Normally, I recommend that people get a standalone dash so that they can swap wheels and reuse the same screen. That usually requires a clever mount, as the top part of a round or D-shaped wheel usually covers part of the standalone dash. Having the screen built in really helps here, and the screen sits above the quick release, so it's slightly closer to your monitors. Buttons, 7-way hats and rotaries. The buttons are beautifully backlit and don't travel far when pressed. They have a nice click, although there is slight lateral movement in them which is negligible. But this thing is so nice. I'm trying hard to find flaws. There are raised bezels around the buttons which makes them easy to locate and prevent them from being pressed by accident. 8 buttons is plenty for me, especially on a wheel with pressable rotaries and 7-way hats. Speaking of 7-way hats, there are 3 of them. That's definitely overkill, but it's the exact overkill that we appreciate in sim racing. A few years ago we were thrilled to have one 7-way hat on a wheel. Then companies started putting 2 of them on, but I'm not sure if 3 7-way hats will ever become the standard. What it does mean is that you have plenty of choice of what buttons to use and what to ignore. For example, the third 7-way hat makes for a nice lights or wipers toggle. The detents are crisp, they're easy to maneuver and access. The rotaries are pretty special. The backlighting brings this wheel to the next level compared to many rivals. Again, lovely crisp detents and indents make these among the finest rotaries money can buy. These rotaries have up to 5 functions each, similar to what we saw with the Solpec Spectra XR. That brings this wheel up to 105 inputs in total, if you don't count the touchscreen. Shifters and clutch paddles. Shifters are just shifters, right? Wrong. Okay, these don't make you shift faster or better, but they feel incredible. They aren't loud at all, but they give such a nice tactile shift. They use magnets and a simple switch. Some might expect to see Hall sensors on a product like this, but I think that the switches play a major factor in the feel of these shifters. I've got the carbon upgraded paddles. There's no adjustment in them, so if you don't like their location, you're out of luck. The location is perfect for me though. The clutch paddles are heavy, in a good way. These do feature Hall sensors. Launching the car with precision is a joy with this wheel. All of the feel and detail is in the first 50% of the travel, exactly where you need it. They've done a great job here. Grips and construction. The direct injection silicone grips are really nice. There's a slight softness to them, but they're rigid when you grab them. They're chunky, but very ergonomic. I've got relatively small hands and can manage them just fine. The grips are not the party piece though. If you haven't already suspected it, this carbon fibre faceplate and handle is all one piece. So the bolts you see on the front only hold on the aluminium casing, which houses the internals. All of the carbon fibre you see is one single piece. The faceplate, the visible carbon handles, and underneath the grips, all one piece. I was blown away when I discovered this. I've never seen anything like this. That price tag is starting to make sense the longer this review goes on. I especially like the little knuckles on the outside of the steering wheel. I thought they were just a visual thing, but with some cars they really help me to steady the car through corners. I love this wheel for the front wheel drive and four wheel drive especially. However, for rear wheel drive and older cars, I really wish this was a fully round wheel. I'm not a fan of D-shaped wheels. I just don't see the point of them in a sim setup. Final thought. At this price point, it gets very easy to set your hopes too high, but this wheel ticks almost every box. The grips are lovely. The finish with the carbon fibre and one-piece faceplate and rim is flawless. I don't know if you know how difficult it is to create these shapes out of carbon fibre without ugly joins and flaws. They've really nailed the look. This is dream hardware in my eyes. I think that some thumb rotaries would be very welcome on this wheel. Although this wheel can be used for anything, it excels for any discipline where you don't need to turn the wheel more than 540 degrees. Partly because of the cable, which you can't get rid of unless you're on an Asetek base, but also because this wheel isn't round. I do like the shape for the cars I used during this review. I used this for some modern rally cars and I really enjoyed it. If I had my way, this wheel would be completely round. I will always say to people that I feel that steering wheels with screens in them make the most sense in a formula seating position, but steering wheels with screens in them look so good. I did use this screen and found it useful that the screen sits just above the middle of the wheel, keeping it closer to my eye line than many others. It's a 5-inch screen surrounded by 24 LEDs. Brightness can be easily controlled too. This wheel is a monster. It weighs 2.1 kgs in this configuration. So if you're on less than 12 Nm of torque, this wheel can make your force feedback feel less detailed than with your current wheel. While sim racing equipment is just a tool for my content, products like this feel like an achievement to have in my possession. If you're looking to add one to your rig, please consider using my affiliate links in the description below if this video was useful or entertaining. Thanks to Gomez Sim Industries for making this review possible. I stream every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 PM Irish and UK time. I'm Lawrence, and I'll chat to you later.